Hey, welcome to Isekai Manhwa Recap. In this video, we'll be covering Chapter 1 to 5 of the Manhwa series Leviathan. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, to be sure you don't miss the next episodes. As the sea level rose, the continents sank one by one. The prosperous civilizations of humankind were submerged, and humanity declined. However, marine life flourished in this new world. We see a father with his son diving in the ruins of a city. Our protagonist's name is Bota, but for the moment, we do not know the father's name. They were both searching for provisions and eventually entered a supermarket. They started taking everything they needed, and Bota noticed that his father grabbed some forks. He told him that they already had plenty and there was no need to take more. But his father gave him a great lesson, telling him that even though he may not be able to find a use for them now, when the time comes that they need them, they will be glad to have them. After collecting everything, they retreated to the surface. Bota tells us that his father calls these places ruins and that in the past, they were cities full of people, but now they are nothing more than eerie environments underwater. On the surface, Bota's younger sister, Lita, was waiting for them. She had been scouting the area to find some birds since, where there are birds, there is also land. But apparently, they haven't seen any for months, and Bota asked his father if he really believed there is anyone alive besides them. Lita also asked if everyone was in heaven with their mom. The father brought them closer to him and told them that he was sure there are people out there, but until he found them, he would protect them with his life, and both of them must help each other since they were in the same boat. The siblings agreed, and Bota explained to us the tasks that each one has and how their days are on the boat. But above all, there is a very important rule they must follow. Before the sun sets, several clocks start ringing. This is the signal that they must take shelter inside the boat, no matter what happens. They must do it before nightfall because once the sun goes down, the atmosphere becomes tense, and the boat starts shaking. This is because huge monsters appear outside and surround the boat. They start hitting the boat, and all Bota wants is for them to go away. His father embraces them and tells them not to worry, as they will soon leave. After a couple of hours, everything calms down and the children fall asleep. Bota takes the opportunity to ask his father if there were also beasts like these in the place where they used to live. His father answers yes, but there were also harpooners, warriors who fought against the monsters to protect their people. He was also one of them, and his tattoo is proof of it. Bota asks him what those 6 dots were under the mark, and his father tells him they are stars, but the children don't know what a star is, as they have always been under cover at night. His father explains that stars are like millions of shiny jewels scattered across the dark sky, and that long ago people used them to navigate. The children fall asleep and the father stays, hoping to one day show them how beautiful the night is. As they observe a destroyed moon, they don't know what happened to this world. The next morning, as they come out on deck, everything is in ruins, but most importantly, they are safe. Despite that, there are large claw marks on the boat, which means they will have to spend the week repairing it. Bota offers to go to the ruins to get what they need, but his upset father refuses, saying that the monsters hide there during the day, and that the last time they went together, it was because he made sure there was no danger. So he forbids them from going down to the ruins until they turn 17. Bota opposes his decision and asks how long he plans to treat them like children, as he has been trapped on this boat with nothing but water around him for as long as he can remember. Lita interrupts them, as birds are flying in that direction, and the family finishes their argument and sets off to follow them. After a while, they come across a construction island with a ship on top of it. The family is surprised, and Bota notices that there are people, but his father covers his mouth and tells them to wait inside the boat. If anything happens, he wants them to turn the boat and leave. Bota asks if he will fight them, and the father replies that it depends on whether they are good or bad people. He jumps into the water and swims to the island, where everything is in ruins, and upon entering a room, he is surprised to find what could be the remains of a family. On the other hand, the siblings anxiously await their father, but Bota notices something, a human figure in the water calling for help. We return to the father, who finds very old explosives and also notices a huge hole in the wall with the steel bars bent inward. Apparently, the family who lived there before was attacked from the outside. Not only that, but the same claw marks on the boat were also on the wall. Suddenly, he hears Lita calling for help and quickly returns to the boat. Lita tells him that Bota is trying to help someone. The father sees the human figure and realizes that it is not a person. The strange thing submerges under the water, and the atmosphere becomes tense, as they know there is something beneath them. The scared father holds onto his children, and from the depths, they see a huge creature that destroys the boat with one bite, and tries to sink it. Luckily, the family manages to swim to the shore, but they are hit by the monster's tail, and the impact sends them to the edge of the island. The monster calms down for a moment, and we see the family resting. Bota wakes up and is scared to see that Lita is not responding. His father calms him down and tells him that she probably fainted from shock, but the most important thing is that they are okay. However, the father has been impaled by a steel bar. He tells Bota not to worry, that the most important thing now is to take his sister and flee the place, that he shouldn't be afraid because he will be behind him supporting him. Bota, with nothing else to do, takes his sister and flees the scene, while his father, in great pain, tries to remove the steel bar from his body. However, the creature was watching him. Despite being burned by the sun's rays, it remained outside the water. This was a problem, and the father was preparing to attack, but the creature turns to see the children escaping. And with a villainous smile, it launches an attack on them. Bota sees how the creature gets closer and closer. And by pure luck, he manages to save himself. The creature puts a tentacle inside and starts looking for the children. Bota avoids making noise so as not to be found, but one of the attacks almost reaches him, and he has no choice but to hide under some debris. The attacks stop, and he wonders if it's gone. He peeks out and notices that his father is there, and he is relieved that he is okay. However, that being starts to deform, and it turns out to be the tentacles of the creature. Bota can't move from fear, and without any opportunity to escape, he is dragged outside. The monster is about to eat him, and Bota screams for help. At that moment, his father arrives to save him, cuts the tentacle, and brings his son down on the creature's back. Once on the ground, he prepares to fight and shouts at the beast not to touch his son again. He tells Bota to take cover behind the rocks. He realizes that this Leviathan is much bigger than usual, but defeating it is crucial, or his children will die. Without further thought, he pulls out his weapon and charges to kill the beast. Although it's big, it's slow, and since it's out of the water, he has opportunities to win. But then he receives a blow that sends him into the wall, leaving him breathless. The Leviathan approaches to finish him off, but the father takes advantage of a rope he had on his side, cuts it, and is lifted up before being swallowed. He grabs onto a pipe and, before being caught by the beast, he manages to remove it from the wall. He takes advantage of the fall to pierce the tube into the beast's mouth and uses it as support to avoid being swallowed. He has the beast immobilized and starts stabbing it mercilessly. But to his bad luck, the tube breaks, and the beast's teeth pierce him. Bota is stunned by the scene, and his father remembers the good times he had with his children. He always sought to protect them, as what he fears most in the world is not being able to do so. He looks at his son and with a smile tells him that he loves him. He drops his weapon and pulls out the explosive he found earlier from his bag while telling Bota to take care of Lita for him with his last words. Without further thought, he detonates the bomb, and the Leviathan is defeated. We see Bota grieving and crying for the loss of his father in the loneliness of the ocean.